It's a lovely spring day, and I think in general in my life I'm really feeling the energy of like having a bit of a fresh start. I'm like nearing the end of recovery from a really long illness. I'm still getting there, but I'm kind of in that process of trying to kind of figure out my new way forward. And one thing that I kind of woke up this morning wanting to do, which I didn't expect really, but it was slightly in the back of my mind, was that I want to kind of reorganise this room. This little art room is, by definition, quite a small room. So there isn't always a ton of room to move around, but I want to see if I can maybe create a little bit more room. I want to try for the first time maybe having room around all sides of my desk. So essentially all I'm actually trying to do today is move where my desk is here. I'll show you in a wider shot in a minute. And move it away from the wall and maybe a bit more into the centre of the room. Might sound like it's really easy, but I think I want to try sitting on the opposite side. So it actually means completely turning the desk, which you can't do in this room without moving everything. And there's also a lot of stuff under the desk, so it's going to be a fairly big job, but I'm going to give it a go. Also, one of the things that allows this is, like a few months ago I swapped out a pretty massive like gaming chair for this chair, which is basically just a stool, an active stool. It's by the company Leitz, a German company, and it's been really great so far, and it's just created so much more room in the room, and I just feel more free to move around. And as a result, in the way I'm going to try today, I never could have done it with my old chair, but I think I may be able to. So I'm going to try and clear things out, because yeah, just organising things. I've been doing this in my bedroom and in this room. Like, I feel like the more I organise things and the more I feel on top of it, the more it feels like my mind feels clearer and ready to kind of move forward. Like recently I sorted out all my stock, so that was all neat and sorted in my bedroom. But I just feel like this room, I don't know how I feel about always like being right against the wall, like looking at the wall like that. I think, and also when I'm filming, I don't really like how I always have to be like side on, like to film. I can't just do like a straight on shot in any angle. Like, it's really hard for me to do, like just set up the camera, and so it's always a faff setting up the camera. So I think this might be helpful for filming as well. So we'll see if it works and whether I like it. Right, I'm at the point now I'm hopeful I could not have to move anything else out. I can just, there's actually like a big thing under this desk that like you could use as drawers on top of the desk, but I don't use it as that. I just keep it underneath to put my scanner on and stuff. I'm hoping to maybe put that along the other side of the room. So anyway, let's see how it goes. I think in the best will in the world, the desk, if I do the desk that way again. I used to have my desk facing this way, but it was really hot in summer, and also like it doesn't really solve my problem because I'm still facing the window. It can't really go much further back because of where the door is. Like, the door's right here. So my aim is to sit on this side. But I think I want to maybe move this a bit further this way so that there's room all sides. So my first job is to just get it out from the corner. I'm going to do it in little bits at a time. My old watch. We just don't know what's going on. I haven't thought this through because I've got to move the desk yet. So why have I put that there? I just don't know. I will have to take this stuff outside, I think. It's like a clock face, isn't it? It's tough because there's only, the desk can like only just go lengthways, so be careful. Right, I've changed my shirt because it was too hot and I've had a biscuit, so hopefully I can finish it now. It's actually really challenging to decide what to put where, because obviously I've not got the sides of the desk anymore, and I'm trying to keep like this side of the desk not too busy. Actually really challenging to decide how to do it, but I'm getting there somehow. This is honestly one of the worst things. I just don't know what to do with that, and I feel like I am maybe going to remove it, and I just don't know how I feel about that. But maybe it's a case of like having some time with it like this, and then I'll figure it out a bit more. This is the trouble sometimes, you move everything around, it actually takes a while to figure out like how to change it now that you've done it. And it's not an overnight thing that it just works. What time do you call this? Come on then. So it's funny, I feel like I actually need a bit of time to get used to this because it's just so different. But it's kind of like when you move into a new house or you redecorate or something, you feel like you need a bit of time to like live in it and get used to it. And there's also like I have full access to the walls now, and like there's some gaps where like obviously this is where like my office stuff would have met. Sorry, my desk stuff would have met. So there's all these like gaps and things that I think I'll put in different places now, depending on, you know, where the light hits and stuff. There's still things to be done. I even added, I even changed like the bit on the windowsill again, because I kind of missed having this thing which is like a sort of letter holder, and so I decided to bring it back in and put it on the windowsill because it's actually pretty good there because it won't fall off as easily. And so I put like some zines that I had in there, and some of my own zines as well, and like plans for zines and stuff, and other, you know, so a mix of other people's zines and my own stuff, my little stock book as well, and the little rabbit in there, so that I could have you know, that still in the room. I also have this little this is actually like a stone fold instead of a bone fold. You see it? So yeah, instead of your regular like bone fold, it's stone instead, and it's really, really helpful. I actually use that all the time. So yeah, I think much like before, I still tinker with it, still change some things. Like at the minute, the desk obviously feels quite bare, but I think when I'm actually working, obviously it will really come into its own because it'll have so much space. And yeah, like it's obviously not going to look that exciting when I'm not doing anything, like when I'm not drawing, when there's not loads of art materials everywhere. But like I think when that is the case, it will be really great, and it will be much easier for me to film my process without the camera always getting in my way all the time. So yeah, so if anyone's watching this thinking, oh, it's not quite as cozy, it's not quite how I liked it before, bear with me, because I'm always determined to create the cozy atmosphere. So I just need a bit longer to like, I think, mess around with it and, you know, keep changing things around. But I think it'll be good for me. I feel a bit more comfortable facing the door. I think it'll be a bit easier on my eyes looking at the darker side of the room, the dark wood, rather than looking at the white wallpaper all the time, especially as we get into spring and summer and the light, you know, goes against those walls and things like that. So I think this will work well, but it's just kind of getting used to it and seeing what I want to be in the room still and what I don't. Like I took a big trolley out of here that I don't really use a lot of it, so I just took it out, but like I had to make quite a lot of room for that in my bedroom, which was another task in and of itself. Like I'm honestly, I probably need to still have a big lie down after all that work that this took and then that I did for the rest of the day. But yeah, as the tour goes, obviously I showed you all the walls and stuff. I suppose the only other things are like supplies. My supplies are pretty simplistic. I mainly work in pencil. I really like dry mediums. I sometimes like to paint, but to be honest, it's quite rare. I just like that pencil and stuff like that. I really prefer drawing anyway. But I also just like stuff that isn't messy, really. Like sometimes I can be in the mood and I'm okay with mess. It's more stuff that like has to be cleaned up a lot, that stains your hands, all that kind of thing. I just don't like it as much. Water, you know, paint, water splashing about everywhere. I just don't like that as much as stuff that I just feel is more in control. And I just really, really love the texture of pencil and coloured pencil. My main pencil brand is Faber-Castell. Probably not saying that right. Their 9000 series is my usual go-to. I mainly draw in, I always buy a range because I buy B to write in, and I get 2B, 4B, 6B and 7B. I probably use 6B the most, but I also do use 4B and 2B a lot. And yeah, they're just my absolute favourite brand for that kind of thing. I also have this thing called a pencil extender. This is really helpful for when pencils get too short. You basically clamp the small pencil into the wooden bit and it helps you be able to use it for longer. What else? Classic erasers. I have this one that's really good but creates a lot of eraser dust. This is also not quite as good, but it doesn't create a lot of dust, so I like them both. I have this ink pen that I always think is a pretty good one, this Ecoline TWSBI ink pen. What's really cool about this is like the fountain nib bit goes in the ink, and then it's like a plunger system. It like plunges the ink into the barrel. Is that gonna work? It like plunges the ink in so that you never have to have a cartridge, you don't have to have any faffing around with stuff like that, and it's also a bit more eco-friendly, which is something that I'm also quite concerned with. Like, I don't really like having like markers and things like that where it's a lot of plastic at the end of it and things like that. Not to shame anyone for their art supplies, because I really don't think artists using pens are the reason this world is burning, but I just personally just have a bit of a thing about it. It's something I have quite a lot of anxiety over, like eco-anxiety, I guess, as they say. So I don't like to do it if I can avoid it. Another thing you can get for fountain pens, just to mention, if you want to use less like ready-made ink cartridges, is like this, which is called a converter. So it like is a reusable ink cartridge that again like plunges the ink into the barrel with like a bottle of ink. So that's quite useful. As I say, the coloured pencils, I recently got these Faber-Castell Polychromos coloured pencils. They're the most expensive coloured pencils I've ever tried, and you can kind of tell why they're expensive. They're really good, and I do really like them. I've been really enjoying them, and I think they're going to last a long time as well. So I really like those. One thing I would say is really important for coloured pencils and pencils is a decent-ish sharpener. This is a hand crank sharpener by Jacquard. And I think this is really great. You can also get like electronic sharpeners and things like that, but I learnt my lesson years ago, and so this is why I'm warning you. You can break the leads of a lot of expensive pencils with a not so great sharpener, so it genuinely is worth a bit of more of an expensive sharpener to save you a lot of money in the long run through it not breaking a load of really good pencils. Also, I just like that with a pencil sharpener like that, you can have a lot of precision of like how sharp you actually want the pencil to be and things like that. Also, it's like adjustable for all sizes of pencils, which a lot of pencil sharpeners aren't, like, you know, your absolute standard ones. It's usually just like big, small, and that's why you end up with the broken leads and stuff, because a lot of pencils just don't quite fit either of those. I have like a little basket down here, which I keep all my... It's actually really great. My friend got it me as like a crocheting basket, but I actually don't really like crocheting anymore. And I found it really, really useful for like folders and paper and all kinds of things. And my favourite paper to use is actually this pretty inexpensive Daler Rowney smooth cartridge paper. 130 GSM. This is a 30 sheet pack, and these are not really expensive. It's obviously not like printer paper cheap, but it's much cheaper than what a lot of other people might use. Personally, my main thing is what is the texture of the pencil on the paper, because I really like to feel like the pencil moves freely, but it still has a lot of grain in the drawing. So I like to be able to see the texture of the paper. So I don't really like stuff like Bristol board, for example, where you lose the texture. And I also don't like stuff that's so rough that it feels sort of stuck, like I can't move. So this is really great for me. I really like it. It's not too thick, so you have to be a bit more careful with it, but I really, really like the effect of it, and so it's my favourite paper at the minute. I do also sometimes use like smooth watercolour papers and things like that. They're some of my favourites. Yeah, and then also the surface that you draw on to me is quite important. So this actual table is not amazing in terms of surface because it's quite grainy and it's got a lot of like dips in it. I do have like a stand-up wooden board, but I've actually also been mainly using this one, which is by Daler Rowney, and it's again fairly inexpensive because they're only like MDF. I think that's about A2. When I bought that, I didn't know it was that big, and so I actually didn't use it for ages because I wanted something more like this, which I bought this year. Oh, I've just knocked all the paper off it, but like this, and then it has a thing that attaches to the magnet. Little pencils there, and I'm gonna take this out with me hopefully in like spring and summer and stuff. Really cool little drawing board. But yeah, what's funny is when I got that one originally, I was like, this is way bigger than I wanted it to be, but I've actually recently used it all the time on my desk, so it's funny how things come back around, like something that isn't useful for a bit ends up being really useful. So yeah, that just gives me a really, really nice solid surface that's very smooth, so I really like that for drawing on. yeah, and apart from that, I have some, like, I mean, sketchbooks I go in between, like, Lectome are really good. Again, I'm saying that wrong, but they're really good, but they're very expensive. Often I like to just draw on plain paper and just collect it together. For a while I was making these little sketchbooks, and I'm sorry if people were waiting for me to sell these, because I just totally abandoned it because I didn't enjoy it. I was bad at it. I didn't have the enthusiasm to get better at it because I didn't enjoy it. And I just also was really ill at the time, so I was like, I just gave it up. But if you've got some decent card and some nice paper to put on and some free book rings, you could easily make your own with a decent hole punch. So please go forth and make your own. But yeah, I keep like some little drawings in here and notes and things. Just, yeah, all sizes of things in there. And then I also have an A5 one currently for a lot of like note taking and stuff. So I just put all kinds of notes in here in categories. It's sort of chaos, but it is organised to some degree. But basically I often write ideas and things in my notes app, but then I don't like to stay in there. I like to put it in a book and like get it out. So I try and put it in here as quick as possible. And so I have all sorts in here that I can then go back through and kind of figure out what I want to do. And then I have this, actually often buy this Clairefontaine Triumph lined paper, which is just helpful for putting in there. I just wish it wasn't so white. I wish they'd make like a cream one, or maybe I just wasn't able to get one from where I order it. But and then I've recently been trying to do a little bit more like journaling, and I have this really inexpensive artist journal, so I've just been playing around with that. Like, I've been collecting the stamps that my pen pal sends me, including like just really normal stamps that I get as well from anyone. And just putting bits of ephemera in and not worrying about it too much, and like sketchbooking sometimes, like little notes. And also just trying to actually draw out ideas rather than keeping them in the writing zone. And yeah, and I quite like journaling. Like at the minute I've got a big bag of like more collage stuff, like plain papers and all kinds of things like that, and like old bits of wrapping paper and things like that. And then I've got like a middle one which is like a folder, which is like postcard size, envelope size, all kinds of things. Like, again, some of these would be appropriate for collaging and some of them are actually people's work, so they're more stuff that I would put up or send to someone or whatever. They're not things that I would obviously cut up and claim were my own. Like, I would never do that. So yeah, like I have old, you know, thank you cards, advert, you know, like if I saw like a leaflet for something that looked cool, old cards, old photos, old little zines. Actually, I should put that in my, I could put these in my little zine book thing that I've created. So that's a couple of zines that I have that I can put in the little zine thing. So yeah, they're the like mid-size, and then the smallest size, this is for journaling again more than collaging, because there's not much in here that I would collage because it's other people's work. So it's like sticker sheets, stickers. This is by Nat Hellion, I hope I'm saying that okay, who I recently bought an order off, and oh, I just love the stuff so much. And some of my own stickers as well, things like that, you know. Thank you cards, you know, if I get a thank you card I stick it in there. And recently, like, my pen pal made me an amazing like hair lino cut, because she knows I love rabbits and hares. But she actually sent me the stamp as well, so I can do it myself. Like, I can have the stamp forever and stamp it as much as I want. So I keep that on my desk because it's just so amazing, and I just thought that was such a lovely thing to do. So yeah, I have lots of lovely things in here that are like that, you know, little bits of old stamps. That's like some old stamps that my pen pal sent me, things like that. I'm having to do the ASMR hand thing so many times. So yeah, that's kind of it. That's my room. There's not really much more in here because I'm kind of simplistic, I suppose, in terms of actually what I draw with and everything. And I think that's everything. You know, apart from all my little things, like, you know, my fun things. Doesn't this Sylvania family look like me? we've got the same hair, like, you know what I mean? And, you know, some fidget toys, usually wood, because again, the eco thing, but also I really like the feeling of wood. This is really cool because it's actually like a little hand massager as well. It's really nice on the palm of your hands. So that one's really nice, and I have like a little worm as well that my friend gave to me. Woody worm. And this is my favourite, well, one of my favourite, don't dare say that, teddy bears. This is Bramwell. Known quite well in my room for being in here. People always say about his neck. Trust me guys, he's fine. He's absolutely fine. I named him after the Bronte brother, although I feel like this bear looks quite a lot cheerier than I think Bramwell probably was. But yeah, that's really about it, and I'm still going to kind of bumble around and have some fun messing about with things now that it's like this. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and maybe you will return sometime to the tiny art room. Looking a little bit different now, but still as cozy, and hopefully you feel as welcome as ever. So yeah, all the best, and thank you so much for watching, and maybe I'll see you next time. Okay. Thank you so much. Goodbye.